Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Move Fast Lift Heavy podcast. This is Joe Roscoe. Thanks for joining us here, YouTube Live, or maybe on Apple's podcast, Spotify podcast. If you're listening for the first time, thanks so much. We'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, follow, tell the friends. We'd love it. I'm Joe Roscoe. This is co-host
Christian Harris,
founder of Move Fast Lift Heavy. We're here in the Shark Tank.
It's the official Shark Tank location, the HQ.
All right, we have a special guest as always. We're gonna bring on this
second camera here for Christian when he's talking to our guest. Please welcome to the podcast, Nicole Roggow. Nicole, hey.
Hey, how are you doing?
Thanks so much for being on the podcast with us.
Yep.
Where are you calling in from today?
So we currently live in Bentonville, Arkansas. We've been here for about a year, and this is kind of the middle of nowhere, but also not. It's the home of the Walmart headquarters and also Tyson Chicken headquarters. So we're out here. My husband took a job with Junk Brands, one of Christian's main sponsors.
Very familiar.
Yeah, almost a year ago, and their headquarters are out here. So it moved us out here. I coach nutrition remotely for a company called Black Iron Nutrition. So really didn't matter where I was living as far as my job. And yeah, just brought us out here.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So for everyone that's listening, we're going to trickle in your background, Nicole, just so everyone gets to know you a bit. You started what in a career, not a career, but you were heavily involved in basketball. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm from New York. That's kind of how I know Move Fast Lift Heavy.
New York.
Yeah, how I originally got in touch with Christian, and like we became friends. So I played basketball at Hofstra University in Long Island. I'm from Staten Island originally. That's where I grew up. And after college, I never went overseas to play. A part of me kind of wishes I would have, but I have no idea what my life would look like because I didn't go play overseas. I still wanted to compete and still had kind of this, I was in the peak of my athletic ability kind of. I graduated college at just over 21, so super young. And I found CrossFit right away. So I graduated college in May of 2021, and I was on a regional team at the 2013 regionals. So there was really no lapse there in my athletic career. And so then from there, I went to regionals 3 times. And then on the 4th time, I went as a team again. And we won the South Regional. I was in Texas at that time, and I went to the games with that team.
Very cool. So I'm seeing you had over 1,000 career points at Hofstra.
Yeah.
Straight balling out there.
Yeah. In high school, I did it in 2.5 years, basically. I did it halfway through my junior year. And then in college, I think I did it early my senior year in college. A funny story about that game, we were actually playing Georgia State. And so we were on the road for 1,000 points, which you never kind of want, you always want to do it in your home gym. But we're on the road. My uncle lives in Georgia. So I was really excited that he would be there to see me play. And we used to go out to a place called Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles, as soon as we pulled into town. So it was a Sunday game. So the day before, Saturday, we went out as a team. My coach took us there, and it was one of our favorite stops. We loved playing at Georgia State because of this. And we pull up, the bus pulls up, and my teammates all start flying to the window, and they're like, Mace is here, Mace is here, Mace is here. And Mace, was eating.
Bad boy Mace?
Yeah, bad boy Mace. He was eating chicken and waffles at Gladys Knight's with us. And so of course, we all run over, we're needing a picture, and one of my teammates, she was from Atlanta also. And she invites him to the game the next day. And he's it was a 1:00 game or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, that's after church. I'll totally be there. I'll go to church and I'll come, leave me a ticket. And Mace sat in the front row. And so that's anytime I hear a Mace song, I'm I scored 1,000 points in front of him. They stopped the game. It was a pretty big deal. And it was kind of cool that Mace was there, so.
A funny side note about Mace. Yeah. I was at a wedding this past weekend, and that was our song that we drove there to, had it on repeat, was Feel So Good.
Yeah.
That's
well,
funny.
Being from New York, even though that's bad boy music is what we love. And so it was just super cool that One, I thought it was like at that time, what was more meaningful to me was like he took time out of his day to come to like a mid-major women's basketball game in the area, you know, and like he gave us his word. He said he would be there, and he was totally there. So I just thought, I mean, he'll forever be one of my favorite rappers now because of that. So
100%.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be there," and then they don't show up.
Yeah, I remember when like somebody noticed them, you know, because we're not really paying attention. And it's like kind of a big stadium, and somebody noticed that he was like front row, like you couldn't miss him. And we were like, "Oh my gosh, he came!" Like everybody, that's all of a sudden we were just distracted from the game. We like couldn't believe he actually came, like he said he would. Yeah.
Did he roll up by himself, or did he have like a entourage?
I really don't know. Oh no, he came to the game by himself. I don't know like how he got there. You know, I don't know how he got like into Georgia State, like into the arena. But yeah, no, he was just sitting there by himself, just watching women's basketball. Yeah.
You think he paid a ticket? You think he paid?
Well, we left him one. That was the thing. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, I don't know if they just let him in or if like he actually went and got the will call ticket. But yeah, it was cool.
Nice. So you and Christian have some background from the Grid League. Did you ever go head to head your teams?
Yeah. So Christian played way more than me. I did not play that much in the Grid League. I was not very good at Grid, mainly because I'm a little too much well-rounded. Like I'm a bigger girl, so I'm not like a gymnastics specialist, but I'm also like not a super strong big girl. So I'm not like, you know, a super heavy weight mover. What was my thing in Grid was always like athletic stuff and like odd object stuff. So like the stones, the ropes, like box jumps, like any kind of weird freak athlete kind of thing that needed to be done. That was me. Our teams went head to head and stuff like that. But in Grid, the way it was set up was like, you kind of got paid no matter what, but you only suited up if you were like needed in that specific match for something. And so I didn't suit up very much, but yeah, our teams went head to head a lot. Christian, his team was like really, really good.
We did pretty well. We won, I think.
They were like the Warriors of the Grid League. That's kind of a good way to put it.
But Grid, huh? What a time.
Yeah, it was fun. That was like, man, that was like the most fun I've ever had exercise racing, mainly because you just do what you're good at, you know, but also like the team atmosphere was just different. Like we don't get that in CrossFit. Even I felt like, Christian, you've done this a little bit more, so maybe it's different for you, but like even the time we went to the games on a team, like it wasn't like being with the same team, I don't know, for years. It's like a different kind of explanation.
It felt very similar to being back at school, like especially the last year when it was in Utah.
Yeah, and we were all together.
Yeah, everybody's in the same campus, and I don't know, it was just that camaraderie that felt very similar to college.
Yeah, it was cool. I loved it. I wish Grid was still a thing. I would just play forever if I could. So
you were on the Miami team, right?
I was on Miami. Yeah.
And well, I guess it doesn't matter. All the matches are in like the same state and city, or city and state all the time, or were you ever in Miami? That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So would we play 3 years, right, Christian?
3 years, yeah.
The first 2 years, I lived in Miami all summer. I'm not sure how every team did it. Christian can talk after that, but we lived in Miami, and then you would like, it was almost like training camp for a month, and then we would like travel to games. And then the third year, to like save on everybody traveling, they had us all, the entire league lived in Provo, Utah, like literally in the middle of nowhere at the foot of BYU. Gotcha. And we just like lived in a hotel for the month, and then we like all played matches at the same place. But did you guys live in DC then, Christian, or what were you doing?
We had a home base out in DC, but actually the first 2 years we teamed up with San Fran Fire.
Okay.
And we went to San Fran for about 3 weeks.
Got it.
For our training camp before the season began.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it was a great idea.
I mean, it's still going, right? It's down in Miami, the Florida.
Well, yeah, but are they getting paid like they are? I feel like it's more like a YMCA league now, like the Florida Grid.
Yeah, it does. Yes.
Yeah. Right?
I think the players are getting money if they actually win the championships.
That's pretty cool. So I'm pretty sure that the people like the Mather and Ruby that were our owners at the Surge, like continue the Florida Grid League. So I'm pretty sure they at least in the beginning had ran the Florida Grid League, but they're like awesome people. And they were always like so business minded behind the grid that, I'm not surprised. They still have like a piece of it going.
Yeah, it's pretty prevalent down there. Like my teammate Winter,
Yeah,
she's on a grid team down there, so
that's cool.
still going.
Yeah.
So when did you transition into nutrition coaching? Did you study this in college, or when was this occurrence?
Yeah, so I have a bachelor's in exercise science. So kind of forever, I thought I wanted to be like a strength coach. At the very least, I thought I wanted to work in like cardiac rehab. And then, I started competing in CrossFit. I was a CrossFit coach at the time. So I did some programming for gyms. I managed those. I worked at Equinox out in Long Island. And I was a trainer there, and I was making, pretty good money and doing fine. And somewhere in like 2013, 2014, I, started counting macros and doing all that. And I got really lean. Kind of just my body type, but also it was the first time in my life that I was actually paying attention to my nutrition. Before that, I had always just kind of got by on genetics and ate whatever I wanted as an athlete, And so when that transition happened, people started asking me things, specifically when I was traveling around with Grid and I was getting in front of like more new faces and stuff like that. And so one day I just kind of sat down, and I had like a personal blog running at the time. I had no real following. And I sat down at my friend's house and I wrote this article that still gets hundreds and hundreds of views a month called How Donuts Gave Me Abs. And literally, if you Google like Nicole Roggow donuts or Nicole Capurso, which is my maiden name, donuts, like this article will be the first hit that comes up. It's still like that popular.
Okay.
So I wrote this, and I was at my friend's house at the time, she was very smart. She was a gymnast at Cornell. I said, hey, can you read this over? And let me know what you think. So she read it over and she said, oh, this is really good. She was like, you should probably put your some kind of contact at the bottom, because some people are going to have questions. They'll want to reach out. And I'm like, really? So I'm like, okay, whatever. I put my email at the bottom, leave my computer open, and I go to take a shower. And I guess I had like my Gmail open on my computer on the desk, and I got out of the shower, and she's like, hey, you're going to want to come over here. So I'm like, what? I was in the shower, maybe a half hour from start to finish, And she's like, you have a bunch of emails already. So I'm like, what? So yeah, I was getting like these emails left and right, to the point where I think Christian, I don't know if you remember this, but I actually reached out to Christian because he had Chrissy's FD 2.0. And somehow you had like talked about that maybe on social media or maybe in person even to me. And I asked him for it. I said like, hey, that FD 2.0 document, like, do you have it or something? And I'd never forget that I got that from Christian. So I read through it and I was like, okay, like I started to get a little baseline so I can at least answer some of these basic questions that these people were asking me. And then I think I sent it to a few more people, like, I'm not an expert on this, but read this document. And after I've sent it to like 4 or 5 people, I reached out to Chrissy because I was like, okay, I can't just keep circulating this. Like now I'm not sharing this with a friend anymore. I'm literally like handing it out. So I reached out to her, told her what happened. And I said, hey, I'm wanting to learn more, but like, I'm sharing your document because I don't, right now I don't have the capacity to like teach people about this. So she was like, okay, like I'll give you a discount code, like whatever. And so I started sending people that. And then in my spare time, I just kind of learned more and more about nutrition. And everything I learned was from Chrissy's School of Teaching and School of Thought. And then a little bit after that, I started taking my own clients and I started my own nutrition business. And at that time it was called Honor Your Nutrition. And I ran that by myself up until about 2018 when I was pregnant with my first daughter. And at that time, like me and Brenton were doing everything. We were doing the advertising, the email blast, the website, like literally everything. So I just didn't really have the capacity to do that anymore. And I reached back out to Chrissy, who is the owner of Black Iron Nutrition. And I was like, hey, I'm ready to, work for somebody and not have to do like all the back end stuff. I just want to coach. And yeah, she brought me on staff there. So that was kind of my long story short, how I got into nutrition. Yeah.
Y'all got a crew of nutrition folk over there.
Yeah. I love working for them. We have a really good team and like some really big names, but everybody like works their ass off. And I'm actually the head of coaching at Black Iron now. So like, I get to do check-ins with our coaches, make sure they're performing, make sure they're doing everything right. And what I love is like seeing the Kelly Bakers and the Kelseys and the Carly Fullers and like all those people behind the scenes, like just working their ass off working, and I think or Manders, I think it's something that people on social media and on Instagram don't necessarily know, like how hard that group of women actually works day to day. So that's kind of fun to.
Can we zoom in on that? Can we kind of, what is a day-to-day of the workload? And because again, what you just said is very true. It's like, oh, we just see these people being glamorous on Instagram and they have the best life ever. It's so easy.
Yeah, like I think that's what people don't notice. I mean, I've seen it in question boxes all the time where like Kelsey gets asked or Manders gets asked, like, how do you have I've seen these blatant questions, like, how do you have so much money? Or like, how do you get to travel so much? Or like, how do you have a house? Or, these weird questions. And like, I don't think people understand, like, we have a fully salaried job, 401k, benefits, like we work. I work all day. I put my kids in daycare so that I can work. Like, just because we're on social media a lot, we don't have like a office we show up to every day or whatever. Like, we're working full time. And as far as like what a day looks like, so for me personally, currently I have only about 45 clients. And I say only because when I was working with Black Iron a few years back, I would carry anywhere from 80 to 110 clients. And those are clients that are checking in per week. So you figure you have 20-ish clients on a day. Check-ins at least take about 15 minutes. Some of them are 20 minutes. Some of them are even longer, if you're having to spend a little bit more. So we're working, 6 to 8 hour days if you have that load. Currently, my job at Black Iron is, like I said, head of coaching. And I've also started the pregnancy and postpartum nutrition specialty program. And that also comes with some training programs. So I was able to write training programs for pregnancy, which again, that's what I've been to school for. So that's what I love to do also. And then we have a pelvic floor physical therapist on staff. So she was able to write a postpartum program. So we have all those program options available in addition to our nutrition that we do. So out of my like 45-ish clients, I would say 20 to 25 of them are pregnancy or postpartum. And I am also head of coaching. So like I said, I make sure that our coaches are doing okay. If they have any issues, they come to me. I'm in charge of like quality control work. So if a coach isn't meeting our standards, I have to like review their work and have conversations with them and stuff like that. And I also help a lot on the training side of things, Black Iron training, where writing programs, putting programs in our software, adding and removing clients to those programs, things like that. So
what's the biggest mistake that people make nutrition wise that you see over and over and over again?
That's a great question. Easily the biggest mistake is focusing on the wrong things. And the way I explain it is like your house is burning down and you're like calling me like, hey, can you help? My cable's out. And it's like, your house is on fire around you. And I think people really overlook the very simple things, the eating quality food, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, like moving outside of their workouts. There's so many people that think like, oh, I do CrossFit. And really that means that they show up at class for an hour and then sit the rest of the day. And so all of those things, I would say like the things that we would think are very are the things people end up overlooking because they're trying to focus, on hitting macros or like the perfect intra workout or like, protein shake timing. And it's like, okay, that's great. But if you're not eating well-balanced meals and eating enough fruits and vegetables and eating lean proteins and like all those other basic stuff, you're not drinking enough water, you're sleeping 4 hours a night, like the timing of your protein shake doesn't matter, So that's what I would say as a nutrition coach. That's what I see most often is people just focusing on the wrong things. Yeah.
Nutrition is definitely one of those topics that it can go really bad for people. And I feel like a lot of people, just my parents, like just trying to talk to people about just changing their habits in a very simple way, they get very overwhelmed. So
yeah, that's yeah.
So with being a mom, being a nutrition coach, being super busy, how do you fit your fitness into your life?
So I schedule it on my calendar. That's what the advice I give all my parents and everything. Like, I know I just need an hour, like 4 to 5 times a week for, the state of life I'm in right now and kind of like my goals and what I want. And I put it on my calendar. My husband and I, we like have access to each other's Google Calendar. So he can see it when I put them in there. I can see it. I can see what his schedule is. And on Sunday of every week, I go ahead and I plug my workouts in. And obviously, like, I'm not training for anything. I literally just want to get a workout in. But to me, that's like a surefire way that I will do it. Because if I do that, then I don't schedule meetings around those times. I don't have any other commitments. And when I look at my week in full, it's really easy for me to say, like, okay, a workout will fit here, a workout will fit there. And that. So I don't have any like super big secret. I know, like, you know, obviously I coach a lot of postpartum moms and they all want like this secret to getting free time. And the reality is that there's no secret. I just put it on my calendar. Sometimes I have a kid with me. Sometimes I don't, but it's so important in my day that when people ask me that question, like, how do you find the time to work out? To me, that's like somebody asking me, like, how do you find the time to brush your teeth every day? I'm so busy. And like, it's like one of my main priorities every day, you know, at least every week, depending on the day. So to me, it's almost like it's a non-negotiable whether it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how I make it happen.
Yeah, I'm big on the calendar as well. So
it seems so simple, right? But like, if it's scheduled there, nothing else is going to go in its place. So then you do it.
Yeah. Clients reach out, friends reach out, family. Hey, can you do 3 p.m. tomorrow? No, actually, I can't.
Yeah,
I don't say I'm working out.
Because
No, I don't have that time slot open. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
So the invitational coming up.
Yeah, we'll see you in a couple weeks, right?
Yes. Last time I was there, I was very pregnant, pretty much. I was like 24 weeks pregnant with my first daughter.
Yeah.
So at least I won't be that pregnant anymore.
And you're like, what are you doing over there? Are you snatching and clean and jerking every day? Are you watching Rocky IV every night to get motivated? What are you doing?
Honestly, like the point of life I'm just at, and I think Christian probably remembers this from when his kids were as little as my kids are, like, you're just so happy to get that time to like move your body and exercise that it's like, whatever, like being here and like going hard and like giving my all in this hour is like so gratifying right now that like, I don't care what's on the bar. Like, I don't care, you know, my time or whatever. And the funny thing about that is I've seen almost better results that way than like, you know, years ago when I had so much pressure on every session to like hit certain numbers or hit certain times. It's like this attitude of like gratitude almost and just being thankful to be able to be doing it. Has like helped my fitness so much. So as far as what I'm doing to prepare for the invitational, I'm just doing what I normally do. And I know that if I just show up, I'm going to be fit and I'll be ready to do whatever.
The atmosphere is going to be electric. So you'll put up some numbers.
That's always the most fun part. Like, of course, you know, Kelsey's like, I'm nervous. And I'm like, Kels, like, we get there and it's always so much fun that you like forget that you're ever nervous. Like, that's so silly to even say because it's just
a vibe.
It is. It's always a ton of fun. Yeah.
Right. 2019 was Brooklyn or 18?
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, it's just literally, I don't know. Instead of playing beer pong at the party, you guys are lifting weights. That's all.
Yeah.
That's very fun. That's pretty much like you said, a vibe. Just chilling, watching some people slang some weights, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you know, playing guest the podcast and mom at the same time. You're a super mom for sure.
Yeah.
You bringing the nuggets? Bringing the little kitties?
One of them. I'm bringing my older daughter. We're going to leave my younger daughter with my sister-in-law, and I'm going to bring my older daughter, but I'm probably going to hand her off to my parents. Because of COVID and like all that, we're not vaccinated here because we kind of just never needed to be in Arkansas. So we haven't really gotten to New York. Because there was all that like red tape around everything. And so we're finally getting there now. And so we're going to hand my oldest daughter off to my parents and they'll kind of take her around New York a little bit. We're going to try and get out to Hofstra just so Brenton, my husband, can see Hofstra and kind of like where I went to school. So we'll have Rain with us, but not Rylan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe we can link up with y'all.
Yeah, for sure. I know Deb is like, look, I want to come to Hofstra with you. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Deb
Brian's been trying to get me to go out there as well. So
it's pretty cool. What's really cool about Hofstra is, not cool, but also cool. They cut our football team like the end of my sophomore year.
Yeah.
But not before Marcus Colston and Steve Bowen like donated millions of dollars to build like this big strength conditioning room with like these sliding doors that open like right onto the football field. Like the football stadium, which is now the lacrosse stadium, is like unbelievable. And then of course, when there was no more football, lacrosse just moved in and had this like state-of-the-art facility. So that's kind of what I'm most excited to show Brenton is just like, you know, he went to a kind of a smaller school here in the Midwest and he's never like, he can't process that, you know, and he played football in college. So I think he'll just think it's a pretty cool atmosphere. Yeah.
You might have to bring him to Dizzy Lizards or Bogarts.
Seriously. What was it?
Well, it's all changed now, but
Kerbett's. It used to be Kerbett's when we were there. It was Wayne Kerbett's place across the street. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Shall we? The after hours.
Oh yeah.
Can you see? Christian doesn't wear glasses, so I'm like pointing at the screen.
Are you that blind, Christian?
Nicole, you could see after hours, right? You could see that.
Yes, yeah. It's so big.
So this whole time I was like pointing at the screen to him, like, "Hey, after hours is next. Like, here we go." And
all right, here we go. I got you. Spitfire here.
Oh, sorry. Hot seat. It's not even called after hours.
I know. That's
just call me out. Call my ass out. Say, yeah, I'm blind, but you're dead ass wrong right now. Like that's not even what it's called.
All right, you're on the hot seat. Would you rather move fast or lift heavy?
I move fast.
Coffee or pre-workout?
Coffee.
Favorite brunch food?
Chocolate chip pancakes.
Last song playing in your car?
Well, I had a Justin Bieber mix on, so it was like something Justin Bieber.
I know you're a sneakerhead, so favorite pair of J's?
I like all 7s, but I think the Citrus 7s are my current favorite. They just got re-released. Yeah.
If you had to pick one exercise for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Running.
All right.
Yeah.
I think of all the guests, as far as the pacing of the answer response, like hands down, Nicole takes the cake.
Oh, this is what my husband does. He's like a podcast host and he like really loves this also. So I feel like sometimes we get into these games where like he's, you know, hosting a podcast, but we're just having a conversation in our living room. Like Saturday night where he just fires questions like this. So
hilarious. What's the podcast called?
So he had one called Prescribed Change.
Okay.
And he started during COVID. He fell off a little bit, but he did a few seasons. But it was really cool because it was like he would interview somebody and like how they're bringing change to their space. And it was like all different guests. Like I was on there. He had me, you know, started to kind of test it out. And it was like how I'm bringing change to the postpartum fitness space. But then it was like all these random people, you know, like he did my brother-in-law who had just started going to therapy as like, you know, a tough dad and like man and stuff like that. And like how he was bringing change to that space and like all these different guests that were really, really cool. So yeah, he was a great idea he had and he kind of just ran with it. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's still in the archives. And if you ever wanted to knock the dust off.
Prescribed Change, it's all out there. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. Any last words here? I think we covered a lot.
See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. I'm really excited. I haven't been to New York since I think Rain was a few months old, my oldest daughter, and she's almost 3 now. So years. Yeah.
All right, Nicole, appreciate you being on the episode.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Bye, Nicole. See ya. All right, everyone that's following along, listening, that was Nicole Roggow. You can check her out on Instagram at nicole.roggow. She'll be lifting at the MFLH Invitational, which is October the 1st here in Long Island. If you want to go to Move Fast, Lift Heavy on Instagram, you can check out the link in our bio to get you a VIP ticket. It's going to get you lots of drinks, a shirt, an amazing seat to see Nicole and Christian and other top dog athletes lift in. Missing anything on that VIP ticket? I think that's
nothing on the ticket. No, that was great.
Yeah. And October the 1st. If you haven't yet, go to movefastlift.heavy.com. We just did our September drop, but be on the lookout for October. It'll be coming in hot. Don't forget about Train with CH, Christian's personal program that he does on the daily, as well as Pump with CH for trying to get those biceps going. Tell about I'm at MFLH, right? And this gentleman that goes to the gym, he sees me the first time. He's like, "Oh, you're Roscoe, the guy behind the scenes." And I was like, "Yeah." We're chatting a little bit. He's like, "You're pretty big." And at that point, I was like, "That was great. Like, thank you so much for saying that. My ego is boosted." Then he goes, "Maybe I didn't notice because you're always standing next to the athletes."
You should have just stopped there.
Right. So quickly that compliment turned into a back end diss, but that was funny. So mflhtrain.com, movefastlift.com, you can check that out. If you want to enter yourself for some free MFLH swag, sign up for the free trial, which you can find at movefastlift.com, and message Christian on the Train Heroic app the word nugget. When he said, "Are you bringing the nuggets?" Nicole, I thought that was some type of like behind the scenes inside joke, like Nicole really likes chicken nuggets from McDonald's or something. But no, he was referencing the kids.
Parent lingo, you know.
Parent lingo. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So if you want to enter yourself for some free MFLH swag, sign up for Christian's free trial. Once you get on the Train Heroic app, go ahead and message Christian the word nugget. Christian Harris, Joe Roscoe, special thanks again to Nicole Roggow.
Out.
We'll see you later.